Hi, my name is Meg Cremins. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 1999, so I was 5 years old. I have these like little snippets that I can remember from like the hospital and just that night. And to be honest, I'm not really sure what's even a memory and like what's been told to me. I was just too young and I probably blocked some of it out just because of trauma and everything. Age 7, I was like, I'm gonna give myself my first shot, and that's when I did. But everything probably up until about age 13 or 14, they were very heavily involved. And then once I kind of hit that teenage year, I started to take over a lot of the responsibility. So I started on shots when I was 7. I think I went on my first pump when I was 8 or 9 years old. And it was like an old school pump. It was called the Cosmo. It was super retro. And then I changed to another pump around the age of 13 or 14. And then I went off pump altogether in my teen years. I was so embarrassed by it. Like, I just thought that having a pump made me look different, and it was high school, so like I wanted to fit in and I wanted to feel cool. I wanted boys to like me. And so I just like, to me, a pump was not able to exist in a world where I fit in. So I went off pump. I was on shots most of high school and through college. And I didn't return back on a pump until I was 25 years old. And that's when I went on the Omnipod, and I've been on it ever since. I would say overall, what diabetes does is it takes time and energy that I could be spending on other things, you know, school, work, personal relationships, and it just takes that time and energy away. And you can't get it back. So it takes away kind of that just part of your life. And, you know, there's obviously a mental side to it, there's a very emotional side to it. And so all of that energy that's input into frustration, into, you know, talking on the phone to insurance. I've spent hours of my life doing that, probably days, honestly. Just so much time, again, that I could be spending on something else. It's just taking away from the rest of your life. Obviously, there are moments when I can feel really proud of something I've accomplished because of diabetes. Like, I ran a marathon with diabetes. Like, that makes it even cooler. Like, it kind of can, the struggle can help make peaks feel higher. But still at the same time, I'm like, if I could run a marathon without diabetes, I'd choose that any day. Overall, the biggest positive thing is definitely like community and the friends that I've met having diabetes. There's people that I would have never met otherwise that I've formed like just incredible relationships with. Yeah, I am comfortable, but it's really interesting because you would think that how outward I am on social media with my diabetes, I'm the same with friends and family, and I'm really not. Like, I do talk about it, and if I have a low, like I'll be like, hey guys, I have a low, like hang on, let me fix this and I'll catch up with you. I'm open about it like that, but I actually don't let it lead who I am in a lot of those interactions. I've gotten to a place where I'm comfortable talking about it, and when I need something, I bring it up. But it's definitely not something that I parade around. Like, it's not by any means the first thing that I say to a lot of people if I meet them. Or I think, you know, on social media, like, I'm talking to other type 1s. There's a lot of really awesome awareness to be done talking to people who don't have type 1, like who aren't aware of it. Like, let's spread awareness that way. But really where I have found my niche is talking to people with type 1 who already have it, they know what it is. Let me, you know, let's have that conversation versus trying to describe what it is to other people. I'm more comfortable talking to people who already know what it is. You get enough experiences with people who don't know what it is and don't care that you're like, I'm not gonna waste my time with that. There are people that, like, if they ask and they're genuinely curious and you can just tell by their energy, okay, this is gonna be a good conversation that's going to help our community, I'll do it. If it's a conversation that's like, this person doesn't care, they're uninterested, they're just trying to troll me or whatever, I'm not gonna give that energy to them. Far too many times, I have not felt comfortable, especially in high school and college. I remember taking an exam in college. I hated talking about it so much, I did not have accommodations. I was just like, nope, not gonna do it. I'm just like everyone else. I can, tough through this. And I had a really low blood sugar during an economics exam, my first semester in college. And I remember sitting there like, Megan, you might pass out. Like, get your shit together. Like, you gotta tell people this. And I didn't, and I left the room, and there was a vending machine, and I got a Gatorade out and chugged it after the exam. There's just kind of this fear, even if it's irrational, like I found that more people that I tell are accepting of it, and they'll help you and whatever. But there has been moments in my life where I've told someone, and they don't get it, or they don't try to get it, and so they just treat it as if it's nothing. And that feels so shitty. So because of those experiences, it's kind of like painted over my future that I always have the assumption that somebody's not gonna wanna help me, even though it's not true. So a lot of the work I've done in the past 5 years with my own acceptance of diabetes is remembering that other people want to help if you're struggling. So just like anything with life, if you're carrying around this big secret and you don't want to tell anyone and you're super ashamed of it and you're super embarrassed of it, people are going to notice even if they don't know what that secret is. It's going to make you seem really moody, or maybe why is she not wanting to come with us today? Or why isn't she telling us this? It puts a strain on the relationships that you have. However, so that's how I lived most of my life leading up to the past 5 years. I've learned that when you actually let people in on this big secret that you have, not that diabetes is a secret anymore to me, but when you let people in and you share with them how you're feeling, that actually strengthens the bond that you have with people. They feel more involved in your life. They feel like they know what you're going through. It makes the relationship stronger. Versus if you ignore it and try to shove it and don't talk about it because you don't think that people care, they'll just be like, why is she always acting so weird about this? I think really being open and vulnerable with diabetes makes relationships stronger. High school, I would go into the bathroom and do my, check my sugar. I didn't have a CGM then, and do my shots. Because I thought that if people saw me do it, they would ask all these questions, and they would call me out, or I don't know, think I was different or weird. But in reality, I was just making it harder for myself, Really, the first time that I started making these really meaningful connections with type 1 is over social media. So back in 2019, I started a social media account, and I just you just met people who got it and understood, and it was the most just euphoric feeling to be talking to people who felt the same way as me, because I felt stupid in most type 1 diabetes communities because I was not good at my management. I did not know what was going on. This is years ago. I feel much more confident now, but I always felt that people would call me out, why are you doing it that way? Or why are you doing it like this? And joining the community, I actually realized nobody knows what they're doing. We're all in this together. We're all struggling together. And I've formed friendships. I traveled to California this summer to go see one of my type 1 friends who I'd never met in person, and meet people who you're oh my gosh, we get it. But when I first started just following people on social media before I even had an account, I was following people who were wearing CGMs, and I had never worn one. And when I started seeing people wear CGMs on Instagram and pose with them, they were cool, they were accessories, I was like, what the fuck? Why would you show that off? We're embarrassed, remember? this sucks. And then you started to realize oh my gosh, actually it's kind of cool. It's different. And now I do it myself, It's been a really cool full circle moment to have other people now message me and be oh my gosh, I never wanted to wear this, but I saw you doing it, and now I'm doing it, and I love it. Most of the shame and kind of embarrassment of diabetes stemmed from my own lack of acceptance of it. If you have a younger brother who's super annoying and always gets into your stuff and you hate him and you had to bring him around school for a day, like you would absolutely be like, go away, don't stand near me. I don't want people to know that you're related to me. It's the same thing, right? Like diabetes felt like the worst thing in the world. And not saying that it's easy, but it felt like terrible. So if I had to carry that with me around the halls of high school or, when I was meeting people for the first time, it felt like having a little brother who was so annoying, that was just right next to you and people knew that that was you. So I think for a long time, like I was trying to fight diabetes and like push it away instead of like working with it and bringing it in. It's just that I didn't accept it. And how could I explain it to other people if I couldn't even like really let it in myself? It really becomes like part of your identity. If you are able to accept your diabetes, not love it, not hate it, but just know that it's there, you'll be fine. You have the people who have miseducation or misinformation or are uneducated or ignorant about it, and they have this one conception of diabetes and they project that onto you. And some of those people are like curious and they like are well-intentioned and they just thought that that's how it is. And those people I educate, I let them know, hey, by the way, whatever. You had the people who just uninterested. They don't care, they don't want to be a part of it. They don't understand the severity of it. And I think personally, that kind of like malicious ignorance is the most dangerous. And then you have like the absolute trolls who are just like trying to hurt you or something. I think the more that people know about diabetes and not only like the warning signs, which is incredibly important because like people will, like there are still deaths due to misdiagnosed type 1 diabetes. That is obviously incredibly important, but also like having this general awareness so that if you ever met someone in your life and you don't have type 1, you know how to help them. It is so reassuring when I meet someone and I'm like, I have type 1, and they're like, oh my gosh, my sister does too. Like, let me know if you ever need anything. And you're like, awesome. Having people that have heard of it, that know, that are aware, and understand, again, like I said, like the severity of it, that it makes me comfortable. It makes anyone with type 1 comfortable because you know that you have people on your side if something went wrong. When it comes to diabetes, everybody's experience is different. So you might have had a friend who had type 1 and wanted something this way, but somebody else might treat something a different way. Like there's so many ways to approach diabetes somebody might love that they can talk about it openly. Somebody else might really want to keep it more private. And then when it comes to treatment, one person might, eat low carb and they want sugar-free snacks, and another person is totally fine eating whatever. Everyone's different, and to not project what other people have told you in the past onto the new people that you meet, but rather take the time to listen and understand how to best support them if that's the kind of relationship that you have. Because that kind of like, it can be in good intention, but sometimes that carrying information that one person gave you about it to somebody else doesn't always fit exactly. So letting people tell their own story and really explain how they want to be supported, I think is key to like just making the world more accessible for people with type 1.